Welcome to r/Silver Crow Azula. I'm Silver Crow,
And I'm Azula Crow. It's great to be here.
and we've got a really fascinating topic to explore with you all today.
We certainly do.
Yeah, so our focus today comes from a stack of, well, really interesting sources, mostly discussions from places like Reddit, communities like Homeschool, Rinche,
Mhm.
and even a YouTube transcript from Special Education Resource.
Right.
And our mission basically is to try and uncover the varied, sometimes really surprising reasons families choose homeschooling over traditional schooling.
And to sort of lay out the pros and cons of both approaches, right?
Exactly, looking for those key insights into the benefits, the challenges.
And what it all means for a child's learning, their development, and just general family life.
Yeah, you might find some of these reasons really resonate, or maybe challenge some ideas you had about schooling.
Definitely. It's quite a range.
Okay, so let's dive in. Core question first. What's driving parents to even consider homeschooling? That's a big shift.
It really is.
Someone on Rome School mentioned public schools being, quote, too competitive and foster a toxic environment. That kind of sets the stage, doesn't it?
It does. And building on that, safety is a huge, deeply felt concern that just kept coming up.
Yeah.
Multiple mentions of active shooter drills, just the fear of gun violence, and some really unsettling stories about security lapses.
Like what?
Well, like children being released to, unauthorized people without proper checks, things like that.
Wow. Okay. That's serious.
It is. And one parent said something quite stark. I would rather have my children be educated at home versus entrusting them to teachers who could make decisions of life, death in an active shooter situation.
That's a heavy thought. Really sobering.
It points to a real breakdown of trust for some families,
Absolutely. And it's not just physical safety, right? There were health considerations too.
Yes, definitely. Parents talking about chronic illnesses or severe respiratory problems, meaning lots of hospital visits.
And schools giving them grief about absences.
Exactly. Threatening truancy, even over documented doctor's appointments. Plus, just the constant carousel of illness, kids always catching something.
Oh, yeah. The endless colds and bugs.
Mm-hmm. It disrupts everything.
And then there's just the daily grind of it all.
Right. The sheer length of the school day. We saw examples, kids on the bus at 7:30 a.m., not home till 4:30 p.m.
That leaves barely any time for anything else. Homework, family.
Barely. One parent, I think from the DFW area, mentioned middle schoolers getting home even later, like 5 p.m. It turns school into a full-time job for these kids.
Yeah, that inflexibility must clash with a lot of family schedules.
For sure. Which leads us straight into the next big area, the quality of the education itself.
Right. A lot of parents felt their local districts were, well, awful was the word used, or that standards had just tanked.
There's this concern that kids are just being pushed through, passed along without really learning the material.
Even kids who are neurotypical, struggling with basics like reading.
Exactly. That came up. And a key theme here is the lack of individualized learning. Ah, okay. Tell me more about that.
Well, parents of kids who are neurodivergent, maybe autistic, ADHD, learning delays, they feel the schools just don't have the bandwidth, the resources to support them properly.
Right.
There was one really upsetting example. A teacher apparently straight up gave up on an autistic child after only a month.
Oh, that's terrible. You can see why a parent would pull their child out after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just kids needing extra support. Gifted children often get shortchanged too.
How so? Held back.
Yeah, held back, given busy work instead of genuinely challenging material. And this can actually kill their natural love for learning.
Even in subjects they used to be passionate about, like math or something.
Exactly. They get bored, disengaged. It's a real loss.
So the one-size-fits-all approach just isn't working for everyone.
Seems that way for many. And then there's the actual content being taught.
Right. Some felt schools were teaching blatantly wrong facts.
That came up. Or watering down the curriculum.
Yeah.
And also a big desire for more life skills.
Like what kind of skills? Financial literacy, cooking, gardening, even things like music. Or, interestingly, proper handwriting.
Handwriting, okay.
Yeah, one person mentioned being tired of seeing illegible scribbles from adults. A bit funny, but it points to a perceived gap in practical skills.
Okay, I can see that. And this ties into the broader educational philosophy, doesn't it?
It does, especially on Rinche. People felt traditional school often fails to spark interest. Too much focus on memorization.
Instead of understanding and applying the knowledge.
Precisely. Some saw schools as sort of Factories producing essential workers rather than fostering, critical thinking or real exploration.
There was also that mention of schools controlling the true narrative, right? Concerns about bias.
Yes, some people felt the need to self-educate on things like history to get a perspective they felt was missing or skewed in schools.
Okay. And then there are the challenges with the staff themselves, teachers,
Yeah, that was another layer. Teacher burnout is a huge issue.
and massive class sizes, like 30 kids to one teacher.
Sometimes, yes, which obviously makes individual attention really difficult.
And sometimes issues with professionalism or even teachers bullying students.
Unfortunately, those accounts were there too. While there was sympathy, teachers are underpaid, dealt a bad hand.
Shit.
The feeling was that these problems really do impact the learning environment negatively for the kids.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, lastly in this section, what about the social environment? That's usually the big argument for traditional school, right? Socialization.
It is, but many parents in these discussions actually argued the opposite. They felt school could be negatively socializing.
How so? Toxic environment.
Exactly. Due to things like bullying, which is pervasive, and also what they called social contagion issues.
Meaning kids picking up bad habits or attitudes from peers.
Yeah, or being exposed to inappropriate stuff online that spreads through the peer group, and just a general culture of disrespect sometimes towards teachers and adults.
So the idea that school automatically means good socialization is being challenged here.
Very much so.
Okay, so that's a lot of the push factors, the reasons people are moving away from traditional schools. Let's flip it. What are the pull factors? What makes homeschooling actively attractive?
Well, the number one thing has to be flexibility, just sheer incredible flexibility.
How does that play out?
Parents can totally tailor the education, the pace, the style. It fits the child, whether they're gifted, neurodivergent, or just need more time on, say, math.
So no rigid schedule.
None. Imagine taking a week off just because the weather is amazing,
That sounds nice.
or planning a trip to see a solar eclipse and making that the science lesson, visiting museums when they're empty on a Tuesday morning.
Right. Learning becomes integrated into life, not separate.
Exactly. And this personalization often leads to a richer, more real-world education.
You mentioned some examples earlier.
Yeah, like teaching marine biology right before a beach trip, or using grocery shopping for math practice.
Practical application.
Totally. Or that example of a 6-year-old dissecting a frog at home, something they'd never do that young in school.
Allows for deeper dives based on interest too, I think.
For sure. It can foster entrepreneurial skills, support kids doing competitive sports seriously, or allow them to attend specialized things like forest school.
Okay. What else draws families in?
Family bonding is a really powerful one.
Just spending more time together.
Yeah, parents saying they genuinely like being with their kids, enjoying the best parts of his day, not just the tired evenings.
Avoiding that stressful morning rush, building a stronger family unit.
Exactly, having control over the rhythm of the day.
Okay, but what about socialization? We touched on the negatives of school, but how do homeschoolers handle it? Isn't that the big concern?
It's the classic concern, but the sources really push back hard on the stereotype of the, isolated, unsocialized homeschooler.
So they do socialize.
Oh, absolutely. Parents said their kids are plenty socialized. They interact with people of all ages out in the real world.
Through activities.
Yeah, community sports, martial arts, scouts, church groups, library programs, and tons of homeschool meetups and co-ops.
Are there different kinds of groups?
Loads. Thriving secular HS groups, faith-based ones, co-ops where parents teach different subjects. It provides really diverse social interactions.
Often with a wider age range than just same grade peers, right?
Exactly, which some argue is actually more like real-world interaction.
Interesting point. And academically, does the flexibility pay off?
The example suggests it really can. Being able to adapt and move at the child's pace seems critical.
Like that person who homeschooled themselves for high school.
Yeah, learned what they needed, aced the GED, even surpassed their peers in math.
And the other example, the student struggling in school.
Right. Went from CD averages to high Bs and As once homeschooled. Thrived with that one-on-one support. It shows how the environment can unlock potential.
It really highlights the impact of tailoring the approach.
Definitely. And for the parents, it comes down to gaining back control and peace of mind.
Knowing their kids are safe.
Safe, eating well, happy, and also empowered to teach things they value, whether it's advanced STEM or, say, non-colonizer focused history.
Without jumping through hoops like standardized tests or dealing with bureaucracy.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming that educational journey for their family.
Okay. So lots of benefits to homeschooling. But let's be balanced. It's not all easy, and traditional school does have its own advantages.
Mm.
What are the downsides or challenges of homeschooling,
Well, the obvious one parents acknowledged, your children are always home.
which isn't for everyone? It needs a lot of patience, I imagine, and space.
And personal time can be scarce. It's also just incredibly time consuming for the parent doing the teaching.
Requires a lot of planning, finding resources.
Huge effort. And often financial sacrifice if one parent stops working. Discipline, too, for both parent and child.
Right. So, what are the plus sides of traditional school then?
Well, at its best, school does prepare kids for aspects of the real world.
Like working in groups?
Yeah, having to interact, collaborate on projects, navigate different personalities, not just friends.
Dealing with people you don't always agree with.
Exactly. And as kids get older, there's less direct parental supervision, which fosters independence.
Builds self-reliance.
Plus, schools typically offer structured access to enrichment art, music, PE, and importantly, special needs services.
Although, as we heard, accessing those services can sometimes be a struggle.
That's the caveat, yes. The promise isn't always the reality. But in theory, they are there.
And a huge practical point. Traditional school allows both parents to work.
Absolutely critical for many, many families. It's often an economic necessity, not just a choice.
Can't overlook that.
And another interesting point came up about learning styles, specifically around self-teaching or autodidacticism.
Which homeschooling can foster, right? Learning on your own.
It can, and that's often seen as a huge positive, passion-driven learning. But one contributor warned about potential downsides.
Oh, like what?
They observed that many self-described autodidacts sometimes had glaring misunderstandings of material.
Blind spots.
Exactly. Things that they argued would have been fixed in 1 week of attending a seminar or a structured class with expert feedback.
So formal structures provide a foundation, catch errors.
That's the idea. It ensures a more comprehensive understanding, maybe beyond just the bits that grab your interest immediately.
That makes sense. It suggests maybe a balance is good.
Perhaps. Some sources actually pointed toward that, a healthy mixture.
Best of both worlds.
Kind of. Formal education giving structure, covering maybe the less exciting but necessary stuff.
While leaving space for self-directed learning to explore passions deeply.
Yeah, and we saw that concrete example. A child in traditional school, but getting extra support from a specialist 3 times a week for their gifted areas.
A tailored hybrid approach.
Exactly, meeting in the middle.
So, wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway for listeners?
I think it's that these choices about education are just incredibly personal and complex. There's so much that goes into it.
It's not just academics. It's safety, philosophy, family life, even societal changes like remote work.
Right. It's a whole web of factors.
And it's crystal clear there's no single right way to educate a child.
Absolutely not. The landscape's always shifting.
So instead of looking for that one-size-fits-all answer, maybe the real key is tailoring, finding what works for the individual child and the individual family.
Whether that ends up being traditional school or homeschooling or some kind of blend.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. Safety, personalized learning, flexibility, different philosophies.
What really stands out to you listening to all this? Does anything particularly resonate or maybe challenge how you thought about education?
We'd genuinely love to hear your opinions and experiences on this. It's such a big topic. Please leave a comment below and share your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely join a conversation.
And if you found this discussion helpful or interesting, we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a like.
It helps others find the discussion too.
And of course, to make sure you catch our future explorations, please hit that subscribe button for the r/SilverCrow Azula YouTube channel.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We really look forward to hearing from you.